What's up, YouTube? This is Yen, bringing you a new video. This is not going to be one of my usual videos. It's a little bit of a talking head video. I've been getting the question in my chat or on my Discord, what are your reactions to the PoE1 news? We are about an hour off of getting some pretty depressing PoE1 news. Go ahead and watch that video if you haven't already, but basically we're not getting any updates until PoE2 gets some final touches. So I was just going to put out this video. I'm going to play some clips in the background and then maybe give you my takes after I play some of these clips. This one's from the first ExileCon. Let's just let it go.
Thank you. Path of Exile 2 is a new 7-act storyline set 20 years after the defeat of Katava. When we finished developing 3.0, we knew that we couldn't extend Path of Exile's campaign forever. Adding more acts would make the game just too long before players got to maps. At the same time, we knew we really needed to bring the quality of Path of Exile's campaign up to a 2019 standard. We realized that we needed to make a new campaign. For years now, we've been wanting to make a sequel to Path of Exile. The problem with that, though, is that sequels split a community between two products. It's also hard for a sequel to compete with the amount of content and features that the original game has. We've just spent 6 years making expansions for Path of Exile, so imagine if we released a Path of Exile 2 and it was just a bare campaign with none of that extra content. This would be a sad shell of an action RPG compared to the current state of Path of Exile. It'd have none of the years of expansion content and improvements that make the game great. So we're creating Path of Exile 2 as a new campaign alongside Path of Exile 1 with a shared endgame. The original campaign is still fully playable, and because it's the same game, it'll...
He goes on to talk about how the MTX will be shared. It was going to be like a shared end game. All the purchases you made will transfer over. All the improvements they make, all the skill gem changes you can use in both games, that kind of thing. That was obviously 5 years ago. Way different. I actually went to this ExileCon. I was a huge fan of PoE1. I bought tickets to New Zealand, attended this. You could feel the energy in the crowd. You could feel the emotion in his voice. To me, this was really like peak Path of Exile. They just dropped this bombshell of an announcement. Everybody was really excited. It seemed very well thought out and very smart. Things have changed in 5 years, obviously. A little bit more of a recent interview. This is after ExileCon 2. Shout out to Subtractum for doing this interview. And I'm just going to play a quick clip from this.
In terms of one of the other fears is resource allocation between Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2. Is that something that you guys want to comment on right now?
I think that Path of Exile 1 will see even more resources allocated to it as Path of Exile 2 nears completion, and there's a few reasons for that. The first one is, when we were working for the last few years, the quiet period where we weren't talking about Path of Exile 2, we had probably over-allocated art resources to Path of Exile 1 in particular. Most of our team is artists. The vast majority of people working for us are artists, as is the nature of AAA game development. And we were producing leagues where...
Because in the end of the day, what you end up having is everyone's working on PoE1 and everyone's working on PoE2 at the same time.
It's also worth noting, with content reuse, it may seem like a bit of a dirty thing to, intentionally take something and dress it up as something else in the game. It seems...
I'm not going to let this whole thing play out, but they talk about how the PoE1 and PoE2, they might actually start competing with each other, one-upping each other kind of thing. That just sounded really cool at the time. Even though the original scope, I think, kind of had changed a little bit. They realized it had to be two separate games at this point. But okay, those are just some clips. I don't really have to reiterate what they said because I think they kind of speak for themselves. We were kind of promised one thing and then we got delivered something else. As somebody who's a very avid PoE1 fan, I'm very disappointed by the news. Let's just get it off our chest or whatever. It really sucks that PoE1 is not getting any meaningful updates for a while. Kind of feels like a slight to some of the more hardcore traditional fans, the people who went to ExileCon, supported them from day one or whatever. It's pretty sad, but I'm not all doom and gloom. I do think PoE2 will eventually get there. I did play the game. I played it for about 40 hours. PoE2, quite honestly, I don't enjoy ruthless PoE1s. I don't really enjoy PoE2. Maybe once more ascendancies, more skill gems, more uniques or whatever get added, maybe the game will turn into something I love. But for now, I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer. But the good news is PoE1 is in a really good state. It doesn't need much, you know. It just needs like some private league. I don't know, like, yeah, settlers restart again or something. Add a small league mechanic, kill monsters in a circle type thing. I don't know. I don't know why I'm making this video. Maybe I hope it reaches the PoE1 developers and you know, they can throw us a bone. They recently made some really cool changes for one of Ziz's events. They did like alternate boss fights for like a super gauntlet or whatever. And I thought, you know, if they could let more players experience those changes or whatever, you know, they did some work there. Why not share it with like the rest of the community or whatever? Like throw some events like one week, 1 month. You know, everybody loves those like mayhem events. Award some demis or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's all I'm really hoping for. But I don't really know the point of this video other than, you know, like obviously disappointed by the news. I'm still going to be streaming on Twitch. Probably not going to be streaming much PoE1 or PoE2. Just currently playing like Teamfight Tactics or some random games while we wait for PoE1. So yeah, that's it for this video. Kind of a weird one. Anyways, thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time.